The Bullpen Mafia is back in the shadow of Lone Depot Park. I got Toad proudly wearing the hat of his new team, Toad, New York Met. This is the New York Met Toad era.
Yes, but in my
defense,
defense,
it feel weird?
It does. It feels sacrilegious. I wore it last night to the Marlins Mets game.
We have a couple things we want to say. I want to also introduce Petey in the Northeast. I apologize, Petey, I didn't introduce. And we also have our boy Marco Schutz.
Yo.
Marco Schutz.
German. He's German.
He's German. German Schutz. We say Schutz because we did the AI run of our episode and it picked up Marco Schutz. And we call him, we should give some context. Marco's Instagram is it's Marco Schutz with a Z. That's how we call him. Schutz. AI was picking it up as SHEUTZ.
His German alter ego.
Marco Schutz.
Marco, maybe that could be your next burner account, Marco. Okay. you have 5 other ones.
But back to what we were talking about. Toad's got his New York Mets hat on. Toad and I were in the building yesterday at Lone Depot. Went to go check out our boy Adrian Hauser. Unfortunately, weren't able to connect with him pregame. But Toad was proudly wearing that hat, Petey, for the first time. Wow. Toad walked into Marlins Park with an opposing team's hat.
First time in my life.
First time in his life, and refused to send a selfie to his dad with a Mets hat.
I was going to say, Toad, does your family know? Like, does your dad know?
No, I'm a total fraud, actually. So Javi and I showed up to the game relatively early to walk down and have a conversation with Hauser. And we had to wait in like this in-between area before we can walk down to the dugout. And we look like just 2 regular old Mets fans. And the people a few rows behind us were yelling at Lindor. What were they calling him? Taquito, something. Paquito. I had never heard, I didn't know that was Lindor's nickname. But sure enough, since I was wearing a Mets hat, Francisco Lindor threw me a ball.
Yeah, dude. Toad ended up with a baseball.
That's really cool.
Yeah, dude. We're in the thick of it. Like a ton of Mets fans, and obviously this time of the year the Mets have turned their season around. But even just South Florida itself, full of New Yorkers.
Yeah,
everyone's trying to get autographs. Lindor runs out there, dude. This whole section's going nuts. Toad and I were probably like 10 rows behind him because the guy, dude, there's no one at Marlins Park, and they were being tough on us, saying that we couldn't go down there until Adrian Hauser basically summoned us to go down there. Okay, so Toad and I were waiting there, and
not only could we not walk down to the dugout, we got kicked out of right field seats.
Petey, that wasn't even the worst part. So. It's Bark at the Park. There's a lot going on at Marlins Park for not a lot of people being there. Bark at the Park.
What a joke that is, dude.
Toad and I walked around the stadium. We're like, what haven't we eaten here? We got some random quesadillas in the outfield. And I was like, dude, let's just sit in the outfield. Like, there's no one in our section.
Right.
We didn't even know there was a guy checking tickets. All of a sudden, some guy comes up to us and he's like, hey, where are your seats? And I'm like, yeah, our seats are actually way better. They're on the third base line, but we want to sit here. Like, there's no one in this section. He goes, can't do it. He goes, go to your seats. I'm like, wait a second, hold on, time out. We're willingly offering ourselves to sit in an empty section in the outfield, and you want us to leave. Like, you are asking us to go to another section. But that's what happened. We didn't stay very long. How long did we stay, Toad?
An inning and a half.
Inning and a half, Petey. Came back to the studio because we figured our time might be better spent working on some stuff with the Mafia. We got a lot of stuff we want to cover today.
Yeah.
But before we even dive in, Bullpen Mafia merchandise arrives in Miami tomorrow.
Yes, it is coming. This is like landing from the other side of the world. It feels like we've been teasing this out for a while. But our boy Pat Lowenthal, Activate Swag, check them out, activateswag.com, is finally, no, I shouldn't say finally, he is delivering the goods for us. We're excited to show that all to you guys. On that same note, while we're talking about plugs, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, wherever you can. Like and subscribe wherever possible, please. And now we can get into the episode. Petey, I know you had your best round of your life last week. I had a golf trip this week, man.
Tell me more. I don't know how you play golf in Florida right now, but just tell us about it, dude.
Petey absolutely wilted, man. I will say it played well on Friday. We had a best ball match. You know how thunderstorms are in Tampa, man. About 4 o'clock, rain rolled in. Only got 14 in. We won that match for the Ryder Cup style. Saturday, played a scramble TPC Tampa Bay. It was awesome course, amazing setting. Unfortunately, my team lost that one. Sunday, this is the real icing on the cake, dude. Like,
Javi, what was Saturday's format?
Saturday was a scramble.
Okay.
Sunday, Okay, Sunday was match play.
Yeah.
The guy who was supposed to go and match up against me, he's like a 5 handicap. I'm like a 12. So I'd still be giving up. I'd be giving him, he'd be giving me 7 strokes. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Not exactly ideal in match play, but he didn't show up. So I got bumped to play a guy who's really a 38 handicap. Okay, and I'm a 12. So
you were dishing strokes,
dude. I was dishing 23. Okay.
Right,
dude,
bro.
hold on. That's not even the worst part. And I got to give a shout out to this guy because he played out of his mind. This guy's not a golfer. This game, Jordy Lujan, played out of his mind on Sunday. But every single hole, I'm giving up a shot.
Yeah.
And then on the 5 or I think it was the 6 hardest ones, I'm giving up 2. So on the back 9, I shot like a 39, had 4 pars, and on those 4 pars, I didn't win any of those holes.
Yeah.
Lost all those holes.
Javi,
I was grinding, bro.
This guy sounds like a sandbagger. A fucking 38, dude. Is that even possible?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, admittedly, he did not have a lot of rounds. We were trying to do this by the book, but playing golf in South Florida in the summer my ankles are chewed up, dude. I was, couldn't hydrate until today. Today's the first day I feel normal. And Toad is looking at me like I have nothing to say or nothing to offer here because it's golf talk.
He doesn't.
He has nothing to offer.
You walked around and hung out with your buddies for 6 hours. I do not feel sorry for you.
Oh, man.
What do you want to talk about, Toad? You got something else you want to talk about for the intro?
Toad wants to talk Team USA basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. What's going on overseas, or if they're playing here?
I don't know where they are, but South Sudan.
They needed a buzzer beating blocked shot to beat South Sudan, and then they had to come back
against
Germany, who does not have Dirk Nowitzki. Just to make that clear, there's maybe Dennis Schroeder plays for Germany.
I think he's the only star player on their team. Honestly,
there we go.
The Wagner Bros, maybe.
You know what that is again?
Shoots facts.
Facts.
Okay.
Wow.
Schwitz. That's Schwitz.
So are we buying the USA Olympic team as favorites for the?
Yeah,
of course they have to be. I did see an interesting post today on X, Twitter, that the Dream Team and their quest for gold, they only faced 2 NBA players, 2 or 5, between 2 and 5.
The entire tournament.
The entire tournament. This USA team will face 57.
Wow.
So
global game.
Basketball is totally different, but if they fall short of gold, it's the most embarrassing thing possible.
Massive disappointment.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Dude, these guys don't give a shit right now, Javi. Like there is, you know what I mean? Like this is just like the prelim stuff. Like they're just wherever these guys go, they're getting after it. These games don't really matter. It's just like get them to the Olympics, get them getting serious, dude. And these guys will just find a way to put it together. These are the best players in the entire world. They're gonna win gold.
All right, we're buying Olympic.
We're
team.
We're in.
Okay, yep. We're in. Let's get into some baseball stuff. We had some absolute nukes hit over the weekend. I know the 3 of us are watching Sunday Night Baseball when Petey, your boy Cutter Crawford, threw a BP fastball.
It was the extended home run derby.
Dude.
And you don't see Shohei like pimp too many or stand to watch a couple. Dude, he watched that one like, oh my God. I've never hit a ball this far in my life, and he might not have. What is it, 474 out of Dodger Stadium, bro?
474 over the tin roof in right center field.
You know it's far because Kershaw during his in-game in his in-game interview, he was admitting to Ravitch and Eduardo Perez that was the furthest home run he had ever seen at Dodger Stadium, and that guy's played about 1,000 games in that stadium.
So guys, fun fact though, I actually saw it. I don't know if it was Instagram or what it was, but it had the furthest home runs at every single stadium. So Giancarlo Stanton, I think, has the furthest out of Dodger Stadium at like 483.
Yeah, he hit one when he was with the Marlins. He hit one over the roof.
Wait, so it might have been actually they might have called him Mike Stanton back then, right?
Yeah.
So that actually you guys may be right. It may have said Mike Stanton 483 back when he was wearing the teal. The teal.
That's a great plug.
Shout out Legends of Day for the teal, boys.
So we had the Ohtani bomb. Fun fact about the Ohtani bomb: it was not the furthest home run hit all year. Jorge Soler the next day hits one 478.
No, earlier that day.
Was it that day? It was on Sunday. Okay, that was on Monday. You're right.
Earlier Sunday.
So he hits one 478 in Coors, which
that's a sliding scale. Yeah,
asterisk.
Yeah.
Dead center field at Coors Field. I mean,
it was kind of the weekend of home runs.
Right.
It was great because the home run derby just happened. Everyone was buzzing. It was very dramatic. Great all-star game. And then we dive right into the regular season again, the second half, and there's absolute bombs. Guys are pimping homers left and right. And then Jose Siri, a career 200 batter, hits up.
Toad is not a fan of Jose Siri. Let's put that out there right now.
Yeah, but Toad, the 200 hitter thing is a big part of why you're not a fan. Like, you can't, you know?
Toad's a purist. But go on, Toad. What did Jose Siri do?
Jose Siri, 4-0 ball game. Not only he cuts the Yankees lead from 4-0 to 4-1. Not only was it their first run of the game, it was to that point, it was the Rays' first hit of the game. He takes over 30 seconds to round the bases in Yankee Stadium and stops at third base to do some sort of celebration.
Petey dead stop. Like he stopped his jog at third base.
I saw him.
Crosses home plate, whatever. The Yankees broadcast chews him out, does the whole bit. An inning and a half later, Juan Soto hits a home run, what looked like double the distance of Siri.
Upper tank at Yankee Stadium, which those look like they're never coming down. Like it just looks like it goes into another planet.
And what does Soto do? He takes even longer.
I love that. I love that, dude. I love that. If you're gonna piss someone off,
learn it from Verdugo,
and then piss everybody else off. You know what I mean?
But he has the right to do it. He's Juan Soto. Who's Jose Siri?
Jose Siri, you want to come on the Bullpen Mafia?
Maybe I should backtrack a little because he could definitely kick my ass.
But we had long home runs. We had bad blood in the Bronx.
Yep.
Today, Subway Series kicks off. Toad's Mets travel to the Bronx to play the Yankees. Luis Severino comes out with a quote and says, the Yankees only have 2 good hitters. So bring back the rivalry, dude. I know we're recording right now. It's the game is tied currently 1-1. But I love to see the Mets and the Yankees both playoff aspirations, man. Get these guys, get some bulletin board material, throw some shade back and forth. Severino.
Is Luis Severino wrong? Did you look at the lineup the Yankees fielded today?
I saw that. What did they say? That people were saying it's the worst lineup of all time they've ever put out there.
Who said it, Toad? Who said it? You know who said it.
Who said it, Toad?
Who did say it?
Jose Canseco.
Was it Canseco?
Dude, it was Canseco.
I read so many tweets in one day that
you really.
It was Jose Canseco.
It was Jose Canseco.
So Jose Canseco concurred that lineup was trash.
Yeah, but he's talking just in general. He's not just talking tonight though.
No, he was talking just tonight because outside of Soto and Judge and just knowing who Anthony Volpe is and Gleyber Torres, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's not very Yankee-like. It's a bunch of guys who have not earned their pinstripes.
Well, the context of Severino is basically like, I'm not scared to pitch to them. I can walk the 2 best guys and pitch to everybody else. But if you're the Yankees, you've been scuffling a little bit. What better and more motivation do you need than one of your former players, one of your own, coming at you and saying, you ain't that good. And we're going to be here this weekend to play you guys. So interesting storylines. I love that. I love the little back and forth, man. Keep baseball. Baseball's got a window here, man. There's nothing going on. We keep talking about it. Yeah. There are no sports going on for the next couple months. Give us all the storylines, man. We had a good one last night. Toad sent us a text late last night. Bobby Witt Jr. is up to bat. He's 3 for 3. He's got the 3 hardest legs of the cycle already, right? He had the double, the triple, and the homer in the first 4 innings of the game. He comes up to bat in the 6th, and he gets absolutely smoked by a D-backs pitcher. Toad instantly asked Petey and I what we thought about it. And when I first saw it, I didn't think it was intentional.
I still don't.
9-3 game, side armor. But the optics did not look good. A couple innings later, the Royals get their chance. They plunk a D-backs guy. Torey Lovello gets thrown out of the game. And it was interesting. Torey Lovello, after the game, his quote said, he basically got ejected, and he knew he was going to get ejected, but he wanted Salvador Perez. And Salvador Perez took exception to Bobby Witt getting hit.
He was pissed.
On the top step, yelling. Yeah. He was pointing at the dugout, pointing at the pitcher. Torey Lovello said, I wanted Salvador Perez to hear, I'm not intentionally trying to hit the future of the game. I'm not trying to hit Bobby Witt Jr. in that situation. So it begs the question.
That's such a lame thing to say.
I don't know if it was intentional. So Bobby Witt Jr., unbelievable last 15 games, hitting over 500. His OPS is over 1,000. I mean, just on an unbelievable tear. Came in second place in the home run derby. Definitely not what you want to see. You don't want to see him in any position to get injured. But good on Salvador Perez, dude. Good on him to protect one of his guys.
And I'm going to take Torey Lovullo's – how do you pronounce it? Lavello? Lavello. I'm going to take Torey Lavello's word for it because guest of the program, Adrian Lorenzo, swears by him.
Yeah, he did.
Says he's a great guy.
Yep.
So I will retract what I said about the claiming that the hit by pitch was intentional. But in today's baseball, players seem to be, and teams seem to be, especially pitchers with the pimping of home runs and taking 30 seconds to round the bases, guys seem to be a little more sensitive, a little more old school. Like, oh, I'm going to prevent this from happening. I don't want to be embarrassed. Our team doesn't want to be embarrassed. So at first glance, it wouldn't have surprised me if he got plunked on purpose, but the pitcher's reaction to it, you can tell it was probably not intentional, but
Javi, we've seen plenty of sidearm righties that might come from underneath a little bit. Smoke dudes. Javi, hey, future guest of the program, Tyler Sperlin. I mean, how many times did the two teams run in on guys, dude? I mean, I don't know. I didn't think for a second it was intentional. I thought it was the situation that they were in, the fact that he only needed a single, the fact that the crowd was so pissed off, the fact that Salvi's on the top step screaming, dude. It just, I mean, that situation, it gets blown up. But who knows? Like you said, Bobby Witt is probably one of the new faces of the game. He's certainly the future of the game. Guys want to see that guy do well, but I don't think that he's getting hit in that situation. I don't think it affects the team. I don't think it embarrasses the team or the pitcher. I mean, it gets you on SportsCenter. That's all. It does. You know what I mean?
I'm okay with guys pimping stuff. I don't have a problem as a pitcher.
Neither do I. Have.
But neither do I. It's fun. It's cool. It's relatively harmless. But then hitters can't be pissed when a pitcher is overly emotional too.
I agree.
It has to go both ways.
Yes.
It has to go both ways
because
a lot of the times in modern baseball, now the batters are getting upset when a pitcher gets his moment and screams after a strikeout.
Right.
Like, come on, man, he's earned that moment too.
Yes.
So, I will say one thing about intentionally hitting guys, like the sport is dangerous as it is, man. Think about you're 60 feet away. Guys are throwing harder than ever. Like you can really inflict some damage on what
and
would be.
And there's been a bunch of broken hands this year.
Broken hands. I mean, and worse, you go up high, man. You never know what happens when you go up near the head neck area. So I never had a problem with guys pimping stuff. I never had a problem with any of that. Like celebrate. I think it's good for the game. Bobby Witt's great for the game. The sidearm reliever probably didn't feel all that great. I'm sure he got, roasted by social media and people after the game, but let people have fun. Let people hit for the cycle. Baseball's having its moment. Nothing is in its way for the next 2 months. We need good storylines.
Javi, if you hit a bomb off me, right, and you pimp it, and I strike you out next to bat, or do something good next to bat, you bet your fucking ass I'm giving it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm giving it. Like, I don't care. Like, whether it's staring you down when you're walking back talking a little shit, like, or little ground out running around the mound, like, giving you a little bit of something. But, like, again, you got to be okay with that, man.
Yeah.
You want to do your thing. Like, I'm going to do mine.
Man.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of – we can't show everybody up every single strikeout every single time. But you want to do it to me, I'm a retaliator, Javi. It's like, come and throw the first punch, bro. We're going. You know?
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is the pitcher's mound truly sacred?
Yep. Don't even. Okay, Javi, I can tell by your reaction that you might not feel the same. Dude, you go around that some bitch. Don't be coming do not be touching the dirt, dude. Do not, like, you can get close, but don't touch the dirt. And I feel like the guys that I've seen touch the dirt, I know what type of player you are.
A-Rod.
Yes,
A-Rod did it to Dallas Braden. You remember that? Dallas Braden and A-Rod
almost got right?
Yeah, they almost got in a fight on the field.
Like, Toad, I'm telling you right now, it takes a certain type of player to touch the dirt. Like, I'm not saying you're a scumbag, but I'm saying, like,
you're falling just short of it.
Dude, you're right.
You're not playing the game the right way.
No, you're an edgy player, and I don't know if the guys in the locker room love you. I'm just saying.
Okay, you know what I'll say, though? I think if he's on the other team, you hate it. If he's on your team, and not for one, imagine you're facing Paul Skeens and he's dicing, and all of a sudden your guy takes 2 steps on that pitcher's mound. Paul Skeens snaps a wire, and you score 3 runs on the bottom of the 7th off of him. That's the guy you love. That's like the Pat Beverleys of the world, dude. They push the edge. They push the line of what's, inbounds, out of bounds. Look, I never was locked into anything else while I was pitching. I just didn't have the mental real estate. Like if you ran over the mound, great, bro. I'm just trying to get you out next time. You know what I mean? Like, but again, to Petey's point, I do think it is edgy, right on the towing the line of, dude, what kind of player are you if you're going to run across the mound?
Because it's going to piss somebody off, dude. Yeah, hey,
100%.
Toad, I was just thinking about this when Javi was describing the type of player he thinks he is. It's like a Brad Marchand type guy. You know what I mean, Toad?
There you go.
Or Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah. Rat face killer.
Yeah. You need those guys, though, dude. But all good teams have a guy like that.
But speaking of A-Rod, I think this is a good natural segue into our next topic. It was also Hall of Fame weekend. Big weekend for baseball. And speaking of A-Rod, a self-admitted or found guilty of assumed steroid user.
Remember the mirror pics he took?
Remember that time he was on an exercise bike after?
Yes. drinking the venti water, dude. Yeah.
A-Rod is consistently among players who are probably deserving of being in the Hall of Fame, regardless of what they did off the field. But the 2024 Hall of Fame class was inducted this weekend. Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, Todd Helton, Jim Leland. Legends in all their own ways. Beltre bounced around the league a little bit. Mauer spent his entire career in Minnesota. Helton, Colorado, famously Peyton Manning's backup quarterback. And then South Florida Marlins teal legend Jim Leland. Do you guys think the steroid era guys, is it about time that we let them in and forget not just the steroid stuff? Let's lump in Pete Rose too.
Yeah.
Is it about time we forgive them and say, come to Cooperstown?
Yes.
Short answer, yes. I think some of the names, if you just look at the Hall of Fame ballot and guys who are on it for the last 10 or so years that are now going to fall off that ballot because they didn't get enough votes, year over year to stay in it.
Yeah.
Dude, those names, there are some incredible baseball players, guys that are just on baseball talent alone. I don't know if the thing is that the Hall of Fame gets murky. Like, are we judging guys on their baseball ability or their character? Is there moral issues involved? Right. I don't know how you can distinguish between one of the, who are we to say that Barry Bonds is not arguably the best baseball player of all time?
Correct.
And he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose, all-time leader in hits, arguably one of the top 10 players of all time. If he was around in today's day and age,
the league would have saved him.
The league would have saved him.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Gambling was taboo 40 years ago. Today, there's a commercial after every at-bat.
Now it's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
The Hall of Fame inductions were presented by FanDuel.
Stop.
No, I'm just kidding. But here's
I would be surprised.
Yeah, I have a couple problems with the Hall of Fame and how people are inducted. Number one, the fact that only media members are deciding who can go into Cooperstown, absolutely ridiculous. Should they be a part of it? Sure. But I think to get into Cooperstown, you need to be well respected by your peers as well. Yeah. So the fact that former players aren't involved as well, completely ridiculous. Number two, I have an issue with the expiration date on when you can enter Cooperstown, because someone who, like Gary Sheffield, over 500 career home runs, one of the greatest power hitters of the 90s and early 2000s. He's not going to make it to Cooperstown just because he, quote unquote, ran out of time. Gary Sheffield was an amazing player. He's getting left out with all of the gamblers and the steroid users too, but for reasons that are completely out of his control. Gary Sheffield did nothing wrong his entire career, was never accused of roiding. By all accounts, was a cool, good guy in the locker room. He's a World Series champion, but he's not going to make it to Cooperstown because the writers don't find him worthy.
Half of these writers are dinosaurs, aren't they?
Yes.
That's another thing, Toad. Bring it, you talk about the gambling stuff, you talk about the steroid stuff. that's kind of the height of when our baseball fandom probably, started, right? I mean, you guys may have been a little bit younger than I was, but I don't know. I mean, like you said, the gambling stuff nowadays, right? Like Pete Rose is just like, yes, maybe like if it's gambling on your team or the game, I get it. Gambling in general now is like I said, it's taken on a whole new life of its own, man. It's a part of every single day. It's a part of everyone's doing it, sort of thing. And the steroid stuff, to me, Javi, I don't know how you feel about this, but like, dude, baseball's hard, right? Baseball's hard. It's a grind. It's 162 games for pitchers. It's 100. It's just like you still got to hit, you still got to pitch, you still got to do all that stuff, man. There was a time, obviously, like again, even steroids, you can say they controlled the game back when the 98 home run race, like when these guys were making names for themselves. Yes, steroids were out there and it was big news, but I don't know. To me, these guys they're specimens. They're still hitting bombs. These guys like Roger Clemens are still going out and throwing 250 innings a year, man. Like did they may have get an edge on people? Yes. Were a majority of people doing it? Probably. Yeah. These guys just did it better than everybody else.
But you bring up a great point, Petey. Major League Baseball and Bud Selig definitely knew they were all 100%. Roiding.
They all profited off of it.
They all know. Dude, the home run chases of the mid-90s
saved baseball.
Yep. It is absurd. It is absurd to treat them like these scapegoats and play the blame game that they're the black eye of baseball.
They were all complicit. They were literally all complicit in this. The networks, the commissioner's office, the sponsors, everybody turned a blind eye because they knew for a fact on Sunday Night Baseball when the Cardinals were playing the Cubs in September of 1998, the entire world was watching to see who would hit a home run first. Was it McGuire or Sosa?
Yes.
But 20 years later, we get to be because fans don't care. The writers get to be the moral police,
right? And
say, "Oh no, you crossed the line, dude." I have no proof, but I bet over half the league was experimenting with some stuff.
Of course,
100%.
Of course,
you could get away with it, dude. Like you guys said, at that time, it was like, shit. This is like just go out and make a name for yourself, dude. No matter what it takes.
Right. And I think it's unfair for us to spend the whole time talking about who's not in. We should spend a little bit of time talking about the four guys that did get in. I know Toad mentioned them off the top. I went down a rabbit hole. Okay, I was looking up the guys before I was prepping for this episode. Adrian Beltre, obviously tremendous career, over 3,000 hits, 477 home runs, Joe Mauer is the most interesting baseball player I've ever researched on Reddit in my entire life. I went through a Reddit thread of just Joe Mauer stuff. He's like a mythical creature.
Stud.
Mythical creature. Was committed to play football, was a number one football player in the country, committed to play at Toads Florida State, was going to be a Seminole. So this guy was going to be a quarterback, was a two-time All-State basketball player, and was a first overall pick in baseball. Like, unbelievable athlete. I know in the minor leagues, we played against him. He did a rehab assignment when I was with Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. He played in Cedar Rapids, where the Twins single A affiliate. His brother was the head coach for that team. He was the manager for that single A affiliate. Joe Mauer showed up to the game. They had a signing day. Dude, this guy, we showed up to BP probably like 3 o'clock, 3:30, games at 6:30. Joe Mauer was signing for over 3 hours. Like, everybody says how great of a dude this guy is. Unbelievable career. Probably cut a little bit short. Played a position catcher, got beat up, suffered a lot of injuries, but tremendous career. Todd Helton, obviously, tremendous hitter.
QB1.
QB2, I think.
QB2.
Yeah, was he QB2?
He was Peyton's
was he
backup.
Peyton? He was Peyton's backup. Yeah.
I mean, who would have been QB1 there?
Joe Mauer, to me, is the Andrew Luck of Major League Baseball.
I like that, Toad.
I think that's
just a good, perfect molded.
That's a good comp, right?
Yeah.
That's the term.
Yeah.
When you think like perfect baseball player, even the position he played, Andrew Luck. Is Buster Posey in the Hall of Fame yet?
I think he's up next year. He gets the ability to get in.
Okay.
I'm sure he'll be the first
Florida State.
That's another Seminole. Hey, that guy went from College World Series to the Real World Series in the same calendar year.
It's crazy.
Like, dude, obviously Buster Posey's a big name in baseball. It was in the big leagues forever, absolute legend. But, Toad, whenever I hear Buster Posey, the first thing that comes to my mind is the game where he played all 9 positions at Florida State.
Yeah.
Like that's the first thing I always think of with him, and he had an unbelievable big league career.
There's been a handful of legit major leaguers to come out of FSU.
Yeah,
the Drew brothers, Doug Minkiewicz.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of pitchers right now. Cole Sands, Tyler Holton, a bunch of guys. So FSU baseball is
Jameis Winston.
Yeah,
and then our last World Series. Our last Cooperstown inductee, Jim Leland, soft spot for me and Toad.
The teal.
Brought us our first championship. Jim Leland, known for famously ripping darts in the dugout, dude. Just
awesome.
The total player's manager. It was funny. I read a quote from him today. After his tenure with the Marlins ended, he became the manager of the Rockies. And he said, this is probably a couple of months into his tenure, he realized, like, why did I take this job? He's like, he was a self-proclaimed pitcher whisperer and a pitcher's manager, and he went to take the job in Colorado. So he said that didn't last long. But then obviously had a tremendous career managing the Detroit Tigers. His number retired there this year.
If there's any team, because I hate using the word deserved, because you got to earn everything. You got to earn everything in sports. But if there's any baseball team of the modern era that quote unquote deserved to win a championship, I think of two teams. One, it's the Texas Rangers that lost back-to-back World Series, and then it's the Miggy, Jim Leland,
Tigers.
Detroit Tigers teams. They were stacked. They were fun to watch. Hall of Fame manager. But hey, both Miggy and Jim Leland, where did they get their rings? Florida Marlins.
Oops. Sorry about it. Next topic.
You're a Mets fan now.
Yeah, that's right. Next topic, we got the trade deadline. Trade deadline looming. By the time this episode airs, we're going to be pushing up on that July 31st deadline. A lot of teams sort of zeroing in on where they are in the standings. I know last night Toad and I took in the Mets, won a couple of games against the Marlins this weekend. They're going to be in prime position to make some moves. They sort of stepped into this season with a lot of question marks, a lot of guys on, short-term contracts. Polar Pete Alonso's contract is coming up. So interesting to see what they do. A lot of big name pitchers. I mean, at this time of year, it feels like the trade deadline, the teams in contention are looking for that one big time bona fide starter. I know Toad and I were talking about it last night. Garrett Crochet, Tarek Skubal, Justin Steele, Jack Flaherty. Locally, we got a couple guys that are probably on the trading block, Toad. Jazz, Tanner Scott.
It's a matter of time. I was actually thinking this week he might be trading dugouts because the Marlins are playing the Orioles. So.
I feel like Petey's Red Sox might be interested in some of these.
Yeah,
Marlins
Petey,
guys.
the Red Sox, have they decided yet, or are they selling, or are they buying? Because they've opened the second half of the season on a 4-game stinker.
Yeah, they're up 6-0 right now. Not a big deal though. So
in Colorado, asterisk.
Toad, it's so funny you say, like, have they decided what to do yet? Because that's exactly how I feel it is. Every other day, hey, we're buyers. Next day, we're sellers. Then we're going to be buyers and sellers. I don't know. I mean, like, the hottest team in baseball going into the All-Star break, right? Come out of this, and here's the worst part is you come out, like you said, you come out of the All-Star break and you go 0-4, right? But does that take away the momentum you had beforehand, right? I think, like I said before, Cora, guys like Devers, these, some of these guys that have been around for a little while, like, these guys want to win. I think they want to see the additions, right? Like Javi, you mentioned, like, a guy like Crochet, like, talk about, like, get another arm, dude, like one more arm to go along with the Tanner Hucks of the world. Cutter Crawford, I know he didn't look great the other night, but, like, these guys that have been surprising for you all year, like, I love Nick Pivetta, man. I feel like he's got big balls. I feel like come playoff time, come late in the year, he's great. But, again, you got Tristan Cassis coming back. Garen Duran, All-Star Game MVP, man, doing things that you didn't expect. Tyler O'Neill still hitting bombs. Willie Abreu, man, I love watching that guy play baseball. This team's got a chance. They're young. You go out, you get somebody, you get to the playoffs. Who knows? Maybe they make a run like the D-backs did last year, man.
And Adrian Lorenzo, when he came on and spoke with Javi about trade deadlines, he brought up a really interesting point. From my perspective as a Marlins fan, I took off the Mets hat.
I saw that.
The different markets of where some of these teams are at, they forces them to take a different perspective on the trade deadline. Yeah. So, like, the Marlins are in complete total rebuild mode. But even if they weren't, there's no pressure locally or from the fan base to necessarily like make a move. But the Red Sox, who've been mediocre for the last handful of seasons, there's a bubbling up of restlessness, I feel like, in the Red Sox fan base. Like guys like Jared Carrabis on Twitter and the Red Sox fan base, you can tell that they're tired of being mediocre. It's like, if we're gonna suck, let's suck. But if we're gonna go for it, just go for it. Right. So it's really interesting to see like the juxtaposition of I'm not saying Marlins fans don't care, because if you go to our social media, they very much do care, but that pressure that a GM and a manager of a team and an organization can get just from like the noise of the fan base wanting to be good and in playoff contention again.
And I think, Toad, that's a really good point. I think I took away something different from what Adrian said. The deadline sort of forces you to make decisions you may not have wanted to make earlier in the season. I know you just touched on that, but like the Red Sox 2 months ago were not going to be buyers, right? Nope. They were sort of going into this position where Cora's it seems like on the way out, no long-term deal. The pieces kind of fell apart earlier in the season, a lot of injuries. All of a sudden you're in this second wild card spot. You got a puncher's chance. You get a guy like Garrett Crochet. Granted, the other thing Adrian said is the price you got to pay to get some of these guys at the deadline, right? Like if you get a guy like Garrett Crochet, 3.5, 4 years of team control underneath, like it's going to cost you a big price. Tarek Skubal, I cannot imagine the Tigers move that guy. I would be pissed if they did.
If the Tigers trade Skubal, it's a bad look for baseball too.
Yeah,
like I
agree.
You don't want teams to be giving up on their young pieces so early, and not even giving up on them. What are you going to get back in return?
Right.
So I hate trades in baseball when you have a proven asset, someone like Skubal or Crochet. I know both. Well, first off, the Tigers are in play a wild card contention. The White Sox are totally out of it. So I guess it's apples and oranges, but to be in this perpetual state of rebuilding and giving up proven assets to get what? A handful of minor leaguers that you don't know how good they're going to be.
I agree with that too.
As a Marlins fan, we've experienced that way too many times. We're going to give up Yelich. We're going to give up Miguel Cabrera. We're going to get 5 top 50 prospects in return.
How'd that work out in the Mookie Betts trade?
Yeah, exactly.
But one of the guys is playing for the Yankees,
right? And Connor Wong is hell of a year. But
I think that really leads me into my next question for both of you. In the minor leagues, were you ever in a locker room or in a dugout in the bullpen around guys who were part of one of these trades who all of a sudden they're either yanked from a game or tapped on the shoulder in the bullpen, like, hey, you got to go pack your stuff. You're, going to the Chicago Cubs.
Javi?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think when you're in the minors, especially when you get to like high AA, the trade deadline takes a different feeling for you because you got, and who's in the stands. You always know there's scouts, there's scouting directors. And then when you get to the deadline, hey, there might be a GM, there might be an assistant GM. Like there's more eyes on the game. And I think guys that are higher rated prospects, and look, if your parent organization is in the contention for the playoffs, whether you like it or not, they're going to make moves, small or big. There's always going to be moves made. I think, Petey, I think we're in Biloxi. Remember, Jed Bradley got traded. He switched dugouts. I think Jed Bradley, good buddy of ours, was a first round pick of the Brewers. We're playing the Mississippi Braves. There was a trade that happened at the big league level. Jed Bradley grabbed his bag, walked across the field, and went to the Mississippi and played for the Braves the next day. So the thing that people don't realize is the minor leaguers that are kind of thrown around in all this, it's tough for them. They're obviously playing with the hopes of making it with the team that drafted them.
And you're not going from Major League City to Major League City. You're going from Biloxi to Helena. Who knows?
You're going to a new organization, new people.
And I gotta pick up your rent.
Someone's eating your rent. Not a problem anymore though, Petey.
Thanks, Jed. Yeah. he lived with me, so I picked up his.
You got to pick up his rent, Petey.
Yeah, got his next month. Yeah. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad. I think you wrote a couple extra zeros in that check.
Oh man, that's funny.
But Todd, what I was gonna say to that, have you done?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay. No. hey, and no, like I agree with everything you said. I was gonna say that I think, in the minor leagues, Todd, and friend of the program, Jack Murphy, mentioned this a little bit when he had gotten traded, and he got traded in the offseason. But, minor league guys, I feel like when you get traded, if you're a part of a big deal, Javi, like with you got a proven big leaguer, and then all of a sudden you get 2 or 3 prospects. Dude, when you're one of those 2 or 3 prospects and you go over to a different organization, one, you feel unbelievable because you're on SportsCenter, you're on MLB Network, you're a part of a big deal, you're getting your name mentioned. Yeah. But I always feel like, if you're jumping organizations like that, right, and you're in a deal to get somebody that's proven, there's a chance. Like these guys want you, right? My mind immediately goes to, man, like this organization literally, like they traded this guy and a big leaguer to get me to come in there. Like immediately, my mind goes to hey, I'm on the fast track when I go over to this organization. I think that's how a lot of guys think. I remember the Jed Bradley one, but I just remember being in the clubhouse with a bunch of guys who, like you said, Javi, higher draft picks, bigger money guys, that would always say, hey, my agent told me like I might be a part of this deal, or they're looking at so-and-so, I might get thrown in. And there's like more excitement, I think, than there is nervousness because, if you do get moved in one of those deals, I think you think that, you could be knocking on the door of the big leagues maybe a little faster than the organization you're in.
Yeah, they think highly of you. And I think, the next couple of days are definitely going to be difficult across different organizations, depending on who you ask. I know the Marlins are probably in sale mode, and we're going to see some moves being made. And whether you like it or not, the path of the Marlins organization is going to look a whole lot different than what the Red Sox are going to do. I imagine the Red Sox are going to be active buyers considering they're in playoff position. But the one team that Toad called them out last night. Toad has them as their World Series champ, the Baltimore Orioles. My World Series champ, the LA Dodgers, have already said they want to be aggressive. They want to get starting pitching. The Dodgers DFA'd James Paxton yesterday. So
going to the Sox.
Some of those big names, I anticipate will be on the move. And I think the Dodgers and Orioles will be the beneficiaries of some of those bigger pitching names. But
hopefully they're willing to give up the big prospects that they have.
Yeah. That's the big
that no moves are going to happen if they're not willing to give up their big pieces, because the teams that have these upper end arms, high talent arms, if I know what you potentially have available, right, I'm going to squeeze every little bit out of you that I can.
And the Dodgers have been very willing, right? I mean, they traded for Scherzer and Trey Turner at the deadline. They've made some massive moves at the deadline, so I anticipate them to be greedy. We haven't seen the Orioles do it, so it'll be interesting to see what the Orioles do. But we'll be on top of it. The Mafia will keep you posted. Next time we record, we will have a deadline segment, go over some of the trades. But before we close out today, we have another nostalgia segment. And this one, I think, I don't know where this was born out of. We interviewed Glenn Geffner, one of our first guests, friend of the program. Tremendous interview. If you haven't checked that out, please do. But the three of us are noted baseball historians. We love watching the game, at least when they weren't blacked out on Xfinity. But any chance we get, we watch baseball. I think this would be a good opportunity for us to go through our favorite baseball announcers. And it could be regional, could be radio, it could be a broadcast pairing. So I throw it to Toad. Favorite baseball announcer?
I am a sucker for radio guys, and my favorite, inspired by my Uncle Joe and my dad who grew up Yankees fans, John Sterling. Recently retired. His home run calls are hilarious.
Unbelievable.
Hilarious. They're unique. I go on YouTube and I watch the compilations of his calls, and can I do a couple?
Oh, Petey, wait.
So
put your seatbelt on, buddy.
I'm averaging one impersonation per episode.
One outburst per episode. Go ahead, Tony.
It's an A-bomb from A-Rod. That's one. What else we got?
What was like a good neighbor?
Oh, like a good neighbor, Glaber is there.
That's good, dude. That is good.
That's a Stantonian blast from Giancarlo. It's so good.
Dude, Toad's in the wrong profession, I think.
He really is.
Man, my brother's listened to a couple episodes. He's like, maybe skip the baseball podcast and
Just go right
start
to
voice
announcing.
acting.
Yeah.
Oh man.
No,
You could be the
but
next Bob Menery.
but thank you guys. But John Sterling, nobody like him. It's been a different season with him, not on the radio. I have Sirius XM, so I listen to a bunch of the Yankees games too on the radio. Hearing only Susan without John isn't the same, but John Sterling's definitely the guy at the top of my list.
Yeah. Petey.
I mean, Javi, I'm not going to blow up your spot, right? Because John Miller and Joe Morgan are like.
I'm not going to blow your spot.
No, I'm gonna let you go with them because I'm gonna go nostalgia back home in Boston here. But like those guys, all I can think of is baseball tonight leading up to the show, Sunday Night Baseball. Man, that theme that used to be good. It's good now still, but like those two are the best. For me, Geff. I don't know if Geff talked about this guy at all. Jerry Remy used to be was on the Nesson broadcast forever. Passed away in 2021. Just an unbelievable guy. A guy that I think he was an all-star second baseman, played for the Red Sox, right? Well respected, I think, in the organization as a whole. But also a guy who, wasn't afraid to talk about how he really felt on the air. And he was him and Don Orsillo, Don Orsillo is with the Padres now. They were a great 1-2 punch, man. They got going sometimes in the booth, just like laughing. They'd have full half innings, man, where like they couldn't even get a word out edgewise because they get so caught up in something funny that happened in the game. But kept it loose, kept it light. Loved watching him on the Nesson broadcast. So without stealing your thunder anymore, Javi, go ahead.
So mine, as Petey alluded to, the Sunday Night Baseball crew. And I think if you grew up in the 90s,
if you were born between 88 and probably 93, 94,
Sunday Night Baseball was a must watch. Like that was appointment television.
Followed by the epic OG Baseball Tonight.
OG Baseball Tonight, Harold Reynolds. Like this was the pinnacle. I mean, just unbelievable.
Wow. I feel like Toad.
Do it again, Petey.
We definitely have to mix that up. We have to mix that song up. Yes. But Sunday Night Baseball with John Miller and Joe Morgan, like, dude, talk about taking away your Sunday scaries before your big test on Monday, like going into your 6th grade class, having watched the Cubs and the Cardinals the night before. Those guys made baseball so enjoyable. Yeah. I know John Miller still does some work with the Giants.
And what's his home run called? The hasta la vista. No, it's adios pelota.
Dude, Toad is on it.
I love my broadcasters, man.
Broadcasting, I will say, it's so easy to find the ones you don't like because baseball's such like it's like you mentioned with Remy and Orsillo, right? Like these guys are telling a story and it's more so like we don't have to describe the action because you're watching it and baseball's at a much slower pace than a basketball or a football. So you don't have to describe everything to me. Like if you say interesting stories and make the game fun and enjoyable, it's worth its weight in gold. And there's so many good ones out there. We just named a couple today. We definitely got a shout out.
Rich Waltz and Tommy Hutton.
Our boy Geff.
We got it. Yeah, I was about to say, we got to shout out Geff. Marlins games. The current radio crew is great. They do
Kyle Seeloff.
Yeah, they do a more than solid job. But I grew up with Geff, and it's really a bummer that he's not on the airwaves anywhere. Really hope he gets an opportunity to get back into the game. But the Marlins, the South Florida fan base has been super lucky. We had Boog Shambi, Dave Van Horn, who's with the Red Sox now. Yeah. It's like the top.
We're the minor leagues for broadcasters.
We're the double A. Yeah, we're the farm system for the big dogs.
Where's Boog with the Cubs now, right?
Yeah,
Cubs, yeah.
And he was Sunday Night Baseball for
he does
for
radio.
A couple
he
years.
does Sunday Night Baseball radio now.
Okay. Yeah. Hey boys, my favorite John Miller name or guy that he would pronounce was Johnny Peralta. I don't know what it was, dude. For some reason, whenever he said Johnny Peralta, dude, it used to get me every single time. Johnny Peralta. Remember how Johnny used to spell it too? It was the J-H. Johnny.
Wow. It's funny that baseball has like all these recognizable names. Football has a couple, but not. Yeah. I feel like not to the same extent where you can like, dude, I can rattle off the Fox crew with Buck and McCarver.
You're telling me Sparrow Deities isn't a household name?
It's good stuff, man. Baseball has got such a great history and such an ability to bring you back. And
hey, did you guys have a problem with Joe Buck, dude? Like, you know how people like. hate
I'm
Joe
pro
Buck?
Joe Buck.
Yeah, I
So
don't hate
was
Buck
I.
at all. Yeah.
Why does so many people like? Why did
The
people?
same
hate Joe
people
Buck
who
so
pretend to hate Joe Buck pretend to hate Nickelback and Creed. Okay,
Oh, that's good.
they're all
Toad.
great in my eyes, man.
Toad, that's
man.
good. That's good. Don't
Toad is pro Nickelback, pro Creed. We are not
Yes.
going to end the episode with one of those songs, but Toad will encourage you. Fire up your Spotify after you listen to our episode. Throw on a Nickelback, throw on some Creed. Like I mentioned at the top, merch is on its way. Please stay tuned
Go.
to our socials for that launch. Again, follow us on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, like and subscribe where we get the chance. We appreciate you guys. We've gotten a lot of great feedback the last couple of days. We appreciate our recent interviews, Adrian Lorenzo, Giancarlo DeVito from Legends of the Dade. The socials have been great. We've got a lot of great engagement. Please continue that. We are here for you guys. Anything you guys want us to bring up on future episodes, please let us know. And anyone that we can sort of get in our ecosystem and get on to an interview, we're more than happy to figure out a way to do it. But again, boys, Mafia, great Middle Innings Volume 6. Shoots is grabbing the mic. Hold on.
Shoots.
Shoots. Sign us off.
Shorts.
Oh wait, by the way, we gotta give intern Marco today. We gotta clap it up because I think it's his last official episode in person with the Mafia. Shoots is going back to school eventually here. He's going on a cruise with his family.
Shoots doesn't even have his driver's license yet.
Yeah, Shoots doesn't.
I'm getting it August 5th.
Hold on, Petey. We're having dinner before this, and I apologize. We're getting into the intricate details of the Mafia here, but we're having dinner before this famous restaurant, La Carreta in Miami. Shout out La Carreta. Shoots. We gave Shoots a fair offer. Now, Shoots is negotiating like, dude, this guy's like Scott Boras, okay? So I tell him, Shoots, I'm going to pay you this amount of money for this many posts and graphics, okay? Shoots looked at me, and he goes, I don't have the time for that. He goes, I need this. And he raised the price 33%. Before I could even finish my sentence, Shoots wanted more money. So we are in a full-blown negotiation with Shoots. I mean, dude, Shoots, again, we talked about his meteoric rise. This is the meteoric rise of intern Marco. He is now negotiating his stipend with the Mafia. So
what do you think? Like, do you think Shoots will get it, or is Shoots going to have to? Is he going to have to earn these?
He made a graphic for us tonight while we were working. We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But that may have some.
He's earning his Mafia pinstripes.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's
I
earning.
agree.
Okay.
Well said,
right.
Toad. Well said.
Toad. All right. That's enough for tonight. Mafia out, boys. Petey, Toad. It's been real.
See you, fellas.